Hey guys, and welcome to the first installment of my Let's Make a Minigame series, where I teach you guys how you can easily make minigames for Minecraft using Skript. Now, I'm going to assume that you already know the basics of setting up a Minecraft server, that you already know how to install plugins, and that you know the very basics of Skript, which are really easy. And if you don't know them, there are loads of tutorials already out there that explain them to you. In this first installment, we're going to create a simple team versus team minigame, which is going to consist of 3 episodes. In this episode, we are going to set up the minigame, so creating, starting, joining, and stopping. In the second episode, we are going to go over the score system, so scoring points, friendly fire, and respawning. And in the last episode, we are going to talk about the win conditions, rewarding the winners, and ending the minigame. I will also make all of the scripts we are going to make in this series available on Github, and there will be a link for that in the description. Also, of course, don't forget to join the new Discord, level up, and get those nice new roles. Link is also in the description down below. So without further ado, guys, let's jump right into it. I do have to make some side notes before we can actually begin. I am running on a 1.15.2 paper server. Now you can also use Spigot, that's also fine. I'm not on the latest version, and that's because we are using a plugin called Game API, which is an extension plugin for Skript. So this allows us to use certain expressions in our script and listen to certain events, which are really going to speed up our process. Now you don't need Game API. You can do it yourself, but it will just allow us to have some nice shortcuts to speed up our development workflow. If you know the gist of it, if you know how Game API works, what you need to do to trigger all of that yourself, you can also do it just in pure Skript. I'm also using 2 other plugins called skQuery and skRayfall, which are also extensions to Skript, which allow us to use boss bars, fireworks, and some of that stuff. All of this will be available to download in the description, so you guys have all the right versions. You can use whichever text editor you prefer. I am using Visual Studio Code because it has a really nice script extension, which is called vscript. If you just look that up here in the extension bar, you can install that and you will get syntax highlighting and a couple of other tricks. So for example, that this is highlighted, variables will have different colors, so it's just a little easier to read. Now we are going to start with making the general team versus team command, which will allow us to create an event, start the event, join the event, all that good stuff. So I would really recommend to put comments in your code, because that will make it so much easier to read. Skript is not the most, I would say, like read-friendly code. It can get quite messy, so putting comments here and there really helps just reading that. Also for me, if I go back to my old scripts, I really wonder sometimes what's happening where. So we are going to make the general team versus team command, which is going to go like this. Command is going to be team versus team. And then we have to do the parameters. So if we do like /team versus team join, we have to declare that we are going to put a argument after this one, after the initial command. We will probably also need some optional arguments like this, but we will see how many we need. We will just go with this for now. We are also going to make a little alias, so we don't have to do /team versus team all the time. We can also just do tvt, which is just a little shorter. Now, if we trigger this command, let's do the first argument, which is going to be create. So we're going to create our event first, our minigame, which is, of course, I think logical. We can do a couple things here using the Game API plugin. What I learned from experience with working with the Game API, we need to check if the game we are trying to create already exists, otherwise it will throw an error. So if game, we're going to call it team versus team, exists, we are going to send a message to the player that's executing the command, saying in red, the event has already been created. And then we stop. So it stops right here and doesn't continue in any of the code. There you go. If it doesn't exist, we are going to create the game team versus team. Easy as that. So that's really where Game API shines. And then we need to do some adjustments to this game. We need to like set the teams, how many teams are playing, in which world is the event happening, all that stuff. So we are going to save the game into a variable called _game, which is a local variable. Don't worry about it. We will just use it for shortcuts. So we will set it to the last game created, which is of course team versus team. Now, then we will set the world where the minigame is going to take place. Now we have to declare the world where the minigame is happening. So we can do a comment with world. We are going to save this world into a variable. We are going to set our world variable to whichever world you prefer. You could also do this in a argument, but we are just going to use my world name, which is going to be TVT1. That's the name of my map, which by the way is free for download. The link will be in the description down below. Now we are going to set up the teams. First we do the team 1. We can also just call it team blue. We will do 2 teams, blue and red. Create team blue for game. So this is where we use the small game shortcut. If you didn't save it in a variable, you would have to do for game, team versus team all the time. As to where this is just a lot shorter and a lot cleaner. So that's team blue. Now, there are some quirks with game API, meaning that we could do like set team size of team blue. I think it's set min team size of team blue to 1. So there have to be always 1 player in the team. However, I have found that this doesn't always work with the game API. For some reason, sometimes it doesn't actually set the team size. So what we can do, because game API also comes with their own with its own commands, we can do a console command, which will be /team, set the minimum player count to 1. Then we're going to copy this. Team blue in team versus team set maximum player to whatever 30. So there can only be a maximum of 30 players in your team. Then we are going to set the spawn for this team. Set spawn of team blue for, and then our game shortcut for team versus team 2, and then we're going to create another list variable, which is going to be team versus team spawns blue. So that's for the blue team. And we will set all of those variables later. Then we are going to go to team red, which is just going to be the same. Create team red for game underscore game, which is our variable, local variable. Let's just copy over these console commands and just change blue to red. There you go. And of course, setting the spawn for game to, and then we will use the same list variable, but change the last value, which is going to be red. Okay, perfect. And that's all we have to do to create an event. We have set up the teams, the world, and the spawns, which is perfect. Now we are going to do the command for actually starting an event. So if argument 1 is start, first we have to check if the game exists. If it doesn't exist, game API will throw an error because you can't start a game that hasn't been created yet. So if the game team versus team exists, we are going to start the game team versus team. Then you can do something like set started state of game team versus team to started. This is really not necessary. It's just a nice way of getting the status of a game, because game can have different states, like it has been started, has been paused, has been ended. It's just a good practice to keep it in here if you would need it. And that's really all there's to it. Players will be automatically teleported to their spawn points if they are part of a team. Now we will make the join command, of course, later in this video. Now we can do a simple broadcast to the whole server that the event has been started. So we can do like broadcast in some cool gold. We will do events, team versus team, event started. There you go. So that will be broadcast to the whole server. We can also do a little check if the game doesn't exist. We can message to the player that's trying to do the command. The event or game hasn't been created yet. There you go. Now that we did start, we can also just quickly do stop. If for some reason you need to stop a minigame early, if it crashes or if it has issues, something like that. It's very easy, very straight to the point. First we check if the game exists at all. If it does, we are going to stop the game. And we are going to delete the game. I would always recommend deleting the game completely, because otherwise all of these values are saved, player count, all that stuff. So just delete it, make sure it's all clear. We will do a message as well, by the way, in green. The game has been stopped. If it doesn't exist, we just send the same message that it has to be created first. So there are 2 commands left for us. We are going to do a join command and a set command. We're going to do this one first because it allows us to actually set the spawns, the world, and the lobby for the game. And now that I say lobby, we forgot to set that up. So it's just as easy as set lobby of our game to, and then a new variable, lobby. There you go. Back to the set command. And this is where we need to adjust our arguments at the top of the command, because we are going to go deeper. Argument 2, which means that there in some cases will be a second argument, which we can do like this. Argument 2 is going to be, let's do the lobby first. Okay, perfect. Then we set that variable that we created right here. And we just copy it over. Set this variable to the location of the player where he's standing right now. We can do a message saying in like blue or something. Actually, let's do green. Lobby position set to, and then we can use this variable value in the message. You can do that easily by putting percentage around it. Symbols. There you go. That should be it. And let's give that a blue color as well. There you go. Argument 2 is going to be the spawn for both teams, which there is where I forgot to do the third argument, because we do a set spawn blue and red command. So we need a potential optional third argument here. There you go. Argument 2 is going to be spawn. And then we have argument 3 is blue. Then we set that value that we used right here, the blue spawn variable, again to the location of the player. And then we message to the player in green, blue spawn position set to, copy this over, then we make it blue, and there you go. Oh, don't forget the percentage symbols. There you go. Now we can just copy this part and use that for red. Just change the values here. Set team versus team spawns red to location of player. And here it's gonna say red spawn position set to team versus team spawns red. So let's actually get into Minecraft and see if this all works. We have to reload our script using the sk reload command and then the name of the script. There you go. No errors so far, which is always good. I'm just going to use this spawn point on the bridge here as, no, actually, wait, let's do the blue position inside of the castle here. So right here. So we made the command /team versus team set spawn blue. And you can see the message saying blue spawn position set to, and then where I'm standing. So that's good. I'm going to set this one. Actually, let's do them inside of the camp. That's maybe a little bit cooler. There you go. Right on this block right here. And then we set the spawn for team red. Now we just need a lobby position, which is just really not necessary right now. You would actually have to do that in a different world, or in like a glass cage above the world so people can already start to look outside. I will just do it like, I don't know, maybe on this bridge right here. So we just use the set command and lobby. Alright, now that we have that all set up, we're going to go into our last command here, which is going to be join, which is actually going to allow me to, as a player, actually join the game, which is quite important. Then the second argument can be, for example, blue. We already defined that there can be a second argument right here, so that's all good. Argument 2 is blue. Then we can use game API again like this. Add player to team blue for game. And we can do exactly the same for team red, and team red right here. Okay, perfect. Let's do a message as well, so the player knows he has joined the game. Something like this. You have joined team, and I think blue is 9. Blue. let's copy that over to here. You have joined team red. All right, nice. I just noticed that I cannot use this local variable here because we set it here and it's only going to be available in this else statement. So what we have to do here is just use the team versus team name because it doesn't know the local variable underscore game right here, but that's fine. If I reload again now, it doesn't give us any issues. Whoops, just noticed this little error. I need to remove this game word here in front of our game variable, because otherwise it's going to be game, team versus team, which is of course not going to work. So there you go. Reload that, and that should all be good. Now let's fire this event. I'm going to fly away so you guys can see I will actually be teleported. So the workflow is first creating the event with tvt create. Then I'm going to, as a player, join the team. A team, I'm going to go for blue. /team, /tvt join blue. Okay, and then we are going to start the event with tvt start. And there you go, team versus team event started. I'm being teleported to my spawn point for blue, which we set right here. If I would have joined team red, I would have spawned right there. And if I die, I will also respawn at that point, but we will do that in the next video. So there you go, guys. The event is running right now. There is no way to actually score points or end the event or whatever. Well, we can always end it by doing tvt stop. And then I will be teleported to the lobby, which we set in this little bridge right here. So guys, that's it for this video. I hope it wasn't too much for you. You can always read through this again. I will put a link to the GitHub page where you can see this file in the description. So let me know in the comments if you have any further questions. In the next episode, we will go over the scoring system. And believe me, that will be a little easier than what we have done here. So if you've made it this far, good on you. So thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to join the new Discord and then get all those new... I will see you guys in the next one.